There's a seriously dangerous non-native plant that is thriving in Britain. Unknowingly, hundreds of people each year are burnt by its sap. The damage from this plant isn't immediate as it requires sunlight to trigger a chemical reaction before giving third-degree burns. I'm going to tell you how you can identify it so you can avoid it. I'm also going to talk about where it came from. We're going to look at how serious this invasion is and, you know, whether if we can get rid of it. Holy smokes, there it is. You see that tall plant standing behind me over there? No joke, when people try and deal with this plant, they wear literal hazmat suits. I need to tread very carefully today. Oh boy, there's loads of it over there. There's loads of it through here. My head is telling me to go back to the car and put on some longer trousers. I never wear trousers during the summer, but today I'm about to go through here to this toxic, scary plant. I think it's the least I can do. So I've come to a section of the River Darwen in the north of England, just outside of Preston. And to say that the non-native plants are taken over here, well, that's an understatement. Let's go in and let's not touch absolutely anything. Let me see where my feet are going. What's this growing here? Holy smokes. Damn, that's big. That's gonna be 4 meters tall. Actually, great shout. Putting on these trousers, these thistles are no joke. Oh. Shit, there it is. I'm standing on it. I have to be seriously careful right now. So the plant which we're looking at here is giant hogweed. This time of year, in the height of summer, it has reached its absolute peak. It's a monster. These ones here are 3 meters and there's some much larger ones further back in there, but I'm not gonna go in there. You know, they can easily reach 5 meters tall. So besides from their obvious height, I'm gonna show you the ways which you can identify this very dangerous plant. The stem of giant hogweed is actually hollow inside. It just looks quite rigid, but you can also distinguish it by these kind of like purpley blotches which are all up the stem. And the leaves, well, they're pretty big too. They're kind of jagged and sharply divided, and they can stretch up to 3 meters across. These ones here, they're a little bit smaller. And at the very top, it holds an enormous umbrella-like cluster of small white flowers. You can see that there's some flowering here, although I think some have already passed. Giant hogweed can actually be confused for several native species. In particular, you've got common hogweed, cow parsley, wild angelica, and hemlock. Now, all of these species will produce these umbrellas of white flowers. Just remember with giant hogweed, it is going to be a damn sight taller, you know, 3 meters plus maybe. But also remember those large jagged leaves and the purple blotches on the stems. I'll absolutely say to you, if you're not sure, don't go up, don't interact with it, do not touch it. I feel like this is something to really communicate with children. You know, my kids would absolutely walk up to something like this, think it's awesome, snap it off. And next thing you know, you're in a world of trouble. So what actually does make giant hogweed so dangerous if you just brush past it or, God forbid, snap it off? So inside the leaves, the stems, the roots and flowers of giant hogweed is a thick, clear sap. And this sap contains an organic chemical compound called fluoroancohumarins. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'll put the word on screen for you now. But here's the real sinister bit. On their own, in the dark, these chemicals won't hurt you, but the moment they interact with UV light, even on a cloudy day like this, they undergo a violent phytochemical reaction. The toxins will bind directly to your skin's DNA, completely destroying your cell's ability to protect themselves from UV radiation. Within 24 to 48 hours, redness and inflammation sets in, and it won't stop there. These will turn into seriously painful blisters. And these won't just be surface blisters, these will be comparable to 3rd-degree burns. And the nightmare, it doesn't stop there. Even after the blisters heal, the sap alters your skin's pigmentation, leaving dark, purplish scars that can last for years. And this causes extreme sensitivity to sunlight. And, you know, even in the future, if you spend time in the sun, these areas can just flare up and blister again. And you absolutely do not want to get this in your eyes, as it can cause temporary or even permanent blindness. I've never been so cautious making a video. Like, you guys know me, I'm normally like barging, smashing through stinging nettles and undergrowth. But joking aside, when people deal with this, when they're trying to eradicate it, they're wearing full-on hazmat suits. But we'll talk about whether if that's even possible in just a minute. Behind the scenes at Leave Curious, I've started building something new called Curious. It's the most ambitious project I've ever worked on, and the goal is simple: to connect more people like yourself who care about nature with the people restoring it. I'm sharing the journey, early ideas and behind the scenes over on Patreon. If you'd like to support the project and follow its progress, you can become a member using the link in the description or the pinned comment. Thank you. Where did it come from? Well, like many of the dangerous and wacky non-natives which we have in this country, we of course have the Victorians to thank for bringing across giant hogweed. Its true home is actually thousands of miles away in the damp, rich soils of the Caucasus Mountains, stretching between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. In the 19th century, British botanical explorers were traversing the globe, looking for the biggest, rarest and most exotic plants to bring back home. In 1817, seeds of the giant hogweed arrived at Kew Gardens. To the Victorians, this plant was a masterpiece. It was impressive the way it stood tall, its flowers, its leaves. They often planted it in their gardens, in their estates, often next to their lakes, ponds and rivers. Where they planted it was actually a big part of the problem of how it escaped. But one thing which they absolutely underestimated was its reproductive powers, and by 1828 this plant had already escaped. Giant hogweed absolutely loves disturbed lands, and with the river networks moving the seas around, it began its onslaught across the nation. So if we know it's dangerous and we know where it is, why don't we just dig it up and get rid of it? As it turns out, eradicating giant hogweed is one of the most frustrating and complex environmental challenges which we have here in the UK. A single giant hogweed plant can produce up to 50,000 seeds, and those seeds can lie dormant in the soil for several years. So if you marched up here and you were wearing full protection hazmat suit, mask and everything, you had a machete and you chopped it down, it would largely do nothing. The taproot of hogweed goes deep down into the ground and it will grow back within a few weeks. While it is a huge problem, you can begin to get a hold of it locally. It takes a focused multi-year strategy, which includes applying targeted herbicides to leaves or physically cutting taproots deep below the soil surface before the plant can drop its seeds. And if you miss a single plant or you stop managing an area for even a year, it'll just come back with an absolute vengeance. It really is a slow war of attrition which has been played out across miles of UK waterways. The river's only over there. I would imagine that this was carried over this way. Ultimately, the story of giant hogweed for me is much more than just about understanding a toxic and dangerous plant. While the overriding message which I want you to take away from this video is just please be careful, tell your family, tell your children, you know, inform schools about this kind of thing. But I do feel that there is another valuable takeaway here. In the world of rewilding, in the world of nature restoration, there is a massive debate going on at the minute. People are getting incredibly anxious about the idea of reintroducing lost native predators like lynx or the wolf. There are groups of people which still worry so much about these creatures coming back. We worry about the danger, the risk to our safety, and whether if we can handle sharing our landscape with something which has teeth. But look at this plant. It is a highly toxic, hyper-aggressive invader that inflicts severe, agonizing third-degree burns on hundreds of people every single summer. Statistically, you are infinitely more likely to be hospitalized by giant hogweed on a Saturday stroll than you ever would be by a wild lynx or wolf. And if we can live alongside these 3 or 5 meter biological weapons which aren't really meant to be here, maybe we can learn to live alongside some species, some creatures which are meant to be here. That's just my takeaway. What do you think about that idea? What do you think about this plant? What relationship have you had with this plant? Let me know down in the comments. The very best way of getting more from Leave Curious and supporting the channel is by becoming a member. That's linked on screen here. Check out this video next, but in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Leave carefully. I normally end these videos by saying leave curious. Leave carefully.